we're heading up the coast. On the north coast of mid-Cornwall lies Newquay, a vibrant surf town. It's full of cafes, bars and restaurants, and has 11 glorious beaches. Childhood sweethearts Anne and Bruce have spent nearly 50 years holidaying in Cornwall, with each other, their children, and now their grandchildren. They knew the area well and knew where they wanted to buy. They searched high and low for their dream house, and after scouring all the local estate agents, they finally managed to secure a house overlooking the beach. But the house wasn't quite what they had in mind. So when you can't find the dream, you build it.
The location of this property was what sold it to us. The original structure was a 4-bedroomed house. It was nice, but it was like a lot of old properties. It was built in the 70s, 80s. It needed updating. The design of the house evolved over a few months with the architect. The main idea was about maximising the view from the house.
Anne and Bruce worked closely with architect Ben White to turn their vision into a reality.
The design process so far with Anne has been quite fluid at times. Projects will morph as they continue, particularly private houses. And people will walk into those spaces and they will want to make changes. This is quite a large one, to be fair, in terms of its floor plan and everything, and I think it may get a bit bigger again. The budget estimate was starting around about 300,000 for a much smaller scheme. It then started to go to 400 and upwards, and knowing it is morphing further, I couldn't tell you what the budget's going to be, but I would imagine it'll be considerably more than the original estimation.
Initially, the cottage that was here looked directly onto Crantock Beach, and then Anne came up with this idea of turning the end of the building to then look out to the high seas, which makes so much difference.
The vision was then that we wanted to have a lot of glass, a very modern contemporary house, but we wanted to sit quietly in its location. We paid 1.45 million for the site. We sort of have a budget of 400,000 to 600,000 for the modernisation works. But then as the project went on and the ideas developed, in the end, things like all the bathrooms, we put a much higher spec in than we originally anticipated. I think, including furniture, when it's furniture, it would cost about 1.4 million to build. We decided if we're going to do it, we'll do it to the best that we can afford. So double our original estimates. And we're not getting any younger. If we don't do it now, we never will. That was our attitude.
Don't start.
When you're spending this amount of money on your dream home, you want to be able to live in it before the season is over.
We've got the tarmac to do the drive, the gates, the steps down to the beach. I think if it's done by the end of the summer, we'll be really happy.
With work hard underway and builders operating to a strict deadline, will Anne and Bruce get their build over the line in time for summer? Back towards the Celtic Sea, Anne and Bruce have been eagerly trying to get their beachside villa ready in time for summer. They've been working hard with builders and their architect to finish the project. And the results are spectacular. Sea Point has 7 stunning bedrooms, each with its own ensuite. 4 of the rooms have adjoining balconies that run the entire length of the house. Downstairs is an expansive open-plan kitchen and living space, with bifolding doors that lead onto a large decked terrace, complete with pool. All the rooms look out to sea and down onto the beach below. Architect Ben was on hand throughout the process.
This house, as you see it now, is nothing like the original design. It has morphed an awful lot. Generally, overall, it's cracking. The quality is superb. When you look at the flooring, when you look at actually the roof on there with this zinc roof, the finish and the workmanship is superb.
Wintertime, obviously, is a great time in Cornwall.
Through this process, we've got to know Anne and Bruce really well. They're looking happy, and I have to say, I'm looking forward to having an evening here with them soon. With regard to budgets, I'm going to refer you directly to my clients, Anne and Bruce.
The couple are delighted that they can spend another summer in Cornwall with their ever-growing family.
It's wonderful to be here at last, being able to share this with our family. Definitely well worth the wait. Definitely worth all the effort, because we've created a sort of dream house for us. Cheers. Cheers, yeah.
Cheers.
End of the long road. As you get older in life, your priorities change, and our priorities are now to have great family memories. It's gone over the 1.3 million now, and we've got bills still coming in.
But just to remember, we paid 1.4 for the site before we started, so...
I think, realistically, it'll be about 1.5 by the time we've finished.
The build.
But that includes furnishings, blinds, you know, all the to be a house that you can live in. Yeah.
And a unicorn on the pond.
Yes.
That's a total spend of just under £3 million.
If anyone is planning a project on the seafront with a cliff access, whatever you think time it's going to take and whatever the budget you've got in your mind, I would say at least double it or maybe quadruple it.
And I think it's the best position in Cornwall.
Well, that's a bit big-headed.
It was a sales pitch. We're not going to sell it, though.